Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. So yeah, I'm a little surprised. Normally we get kind of the followers before we get a champion, but right off the bat we're just getting Zoe. And it's kind of funny art here. You can see like her legs back here in a portal and then her body coming through. So anyway, let's go ahead and watch it. Zoe pops in. This will get a little bit more clear here in a second. Tends to. Alright, Zoe, a 1 cost. This is kind of where I thought this was going to be. Yeah, just a 1 cost card. She's elusive, very similar kind of to Fizz and Teemo. Yeah, both those cards have like the elusive keyword. Anyway, Nexus Strike, create a super cool star chart in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost by 1. Interesting. Alright, level up. I've seen you play 10 different cards with different names. Okay, so this kind of synergizes with Piltover's On and like the Pursuit of Perfection and all those cat cards. Kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and see what super cool there cleared up a little bit. Super cool star chart actually is. Alright. Was it attack? She hits the Nexus? Nexus Strike, yep. Alright. So super cool star chart. So this is a 2 mana burst speed spell. So this is not an ephemera or like not an ephemera. This is not a fleeting card. Which yeah means that you can keep it in your hand. And also, you know, if she hits the Nexus again, you're reducing its cost. So that's not like reliant on rallies or things like that in order to get more value out of this card. So that's kind of interesting. So let's see what it does. Super cool star chart, burst speed, 2 cost spell. Invoke a celestial card that costs 3 or less. So this is kind of like Behold the Infinite, right? The 2 cost card from Targon. A celestial card that costs 3 or less. So yeah, the same price as Behold the Infinite. You can reduce the cost of this card though. So like this one you're generating for free, which is interesting. I don't really know like how good this is because I mean we've seen cards like this already. Spacey Sketcher again kind of does the same thing as this card. You don't have to discard. She is elusive, so she should be getting value. There is a lot of like elusive blockers nowadays though, so we're gonna see how effective that is. Even things like Sharp Sight have been reducing the effectiveness of elusive units. The good thing is that Zoe comes out on turn 1, so she can at least get you some value. She didn't have Spell Shield or anything, did she? Nope, just elusive. Alright, so there we go. We can reduce the cost of this card so that she's going to invoke. It's kind of interesting we have more invoke abilities, so let's see what that was. Paddle Star. Alright, 3 cost slow speed spell. Deal 4 to an enemy that attacked this round or is stunned. So kind of similar to Ravenous Flock, except this is going to be a 3 cost card. Now, this is kind of a weird card to play around, right? Because any conditional damage card you can kind of predict. I wonder if this is Zoe's signature spell. Because, for example, Black Spear with Callista, the very similar card to Black Spear. There's a condition where a unit has to have died, one of your units has to have died in order to use that spell. This is very similar. So the enemy has to have attacked this round or is stunned to deal 4 damage, which is quite a bit of damage. This is also a targeted spell which works with Ezreal. It's a 3 cost card which also works with Piltover's On and the Tri-Beam Improbulator, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's on the same level as Callista's Black Spear. So on the level that you see Callista's Black Spear, I think you'll see this card as well. Alright. Also more synergy with things like Yasuo. So maybe we'll see it a little bit more. Alright, 1 cost burst speed spell. Spell Thief. So if you guys don't know, Zoe in League of Legends can steal people's summoner spells after they use them. So that's where this one's coming. Spell Thief, Burst Speed. Pick one of 3 enemy spells played this game and create a copy in hand. So I'm guessing that is going to give you an option here. Let's go ahead and look. I think it'll show us. Maybe.
Hey, what you got there?
Yep. Alright, so it gives you an option of 3 spells. And I don't think that there was a limit on the cost of these ones. So the Celestial card had a limit. What kind of... It's rare. Alright. Yeah, the Celestial card had a limit. That's a pretty strong card, I would say. Alright, you still have to work with a little bit of RNG, which is a little bit, you know, it's not quite as good because you don't get you don't have the ability to you know, pick the best spell, but there's a good chance that you're going to at least pull it up. Now you're going to create this spell, right? It's not fleeting. I'm pretty sure it's not fleeting. Create a copy in hand. So yeah, it's not fleeting. Yeah, I think this is just okay. So the problem that we have here, and the problem with stealing people's spells in general, is general usefulness. So the ability to choose one of the 3 at least gives you a little bit of leeway in that regard, just because you can pick the best one for your I guess composition, your deck composition. But there's no guarantee that you're going to get a spell that's actually going to help you. Some of them could just be completely useless, and you know, you would never pick, and so you're kind of forced to pick kind of the less the less horrible option. So this could have some good uses. We've seen in the past where like nab, where you can use cards against them, have been super strong, and so I expect that this card will be annoying from time to time. But like, they still have to spend mana to get the spells, and they still have to use the mana to use the spells that they take. So I think overall it's looking pretty fair at the moment. It may seem a little bit toxic later down the line, or I guess we'll see if it's like as bad as Nab is. It's really hard to tell without actually playing it. How at least it's not reducing the cost of the cards like the black market version. Alright, Zoe's leveled up. Zoe goes to a 2/2 elusive. For the rest of the game, when you summon an ally, grant its keyword to all allies. Okay, that's a pretty strong ability. Nexus Strike, create a Behold the Infinite that costs 0 in hand. So then at that point, it just is like Star Charts is no longer then when the Star Charts is no longer like useful. We're getting to late game, so we're just going to use Behold the Infinite so that we can, and at 0 cost as well. And that's just so that you can create more celestial cards, more powerful celestial cards. You're not going to be subject to 1 to 3 mana cost celestial cards, which I think is it's a good change, just because we are able to kind of ramp up into late game and get some stronger cards. I think that's a pretty decent kind of level up ability, and also makes her a little bit more relevant later on in the game. She's still elusive, and she's also granting keywords from your allies. So you have to summon an ally with a keyword, and then it grants those keywords to all allies. So this is going to be, of course, in an elusive deck, more than likely, maybe with some overwhelm units, but elusive is what I can kind of see here. You don't even need a super expensive elusive unit. So for example, like, what's an elusive unit? The Shadestalker is a 2-cost unit if you use Nightfall, right? You can use a cheap spell, a 0-cost spell, right? Use the Lunari Shades, or sorry, use I don't know, like if you pair this with Noxus, you could have like a Captain Fair, and I brought that up quite a bit. And then play the Lunari Shadestalker right afterwards and grant everything elusive. So seems like an okay ability, if you ask me. Yeah, she's going to be kind of annoying to deal with. They're going to need to deal with her, especially once we get to late game. The level up condition was 10. What was it? Play 10 cards with different names. So how hard is that going to be? So she's invoking, right? So we got celestial cards. So I don't think this is going to be that hard. I would say she could be leveled up by turn 5. Maybe 4 to 5 is where we're going to start seeing her leveling up the most. Especially if you build a really decent deck around her. Yeah, I don't think it's super hard. Protecting her might be a little bit difficult, but for the most part, I think it's going to be fairly easy just because we have celestial cards that we can invoke, and those cost or count as different cards. So anyway, let's see. Any other cards? Starry Scamp and Sparklefly. Elusive and Lifesteal. Oh, it's just given the option. Okay. Starry Scamp. I cost 2 less if you behold a Celestial. Alright, so essentially a 0/0. Or sorry, a 2/2/0 cost card. Sparklefly is a 2 cost with Elusive and Lifesteal, which is okay. And then we've got the Porofly here, which has buff stats for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but Starry Scamp. If you end up placing that, I don't know, this card, you get like the cost reduction, but what's like the point of getting the cost reduction? You need to, like for Zoe, what I'm imagining that we're going to need to do is create a whole bunch of cards and card draw and card production in our hand so that we can level her up fast. So this may work pretty well with her just because we're going to be able to play it for 0 mana. And then get like her level up condition a little bit faster. Sparklefly is one lifesteal at round 2 in the game isn't super useful. I don't really know if that's going to hit decks, but any sort of lifesteal is pretty nice, and elusive as well. So it's going to be happening over and over again, which is useful. And then, like I was saying, this is also an elusive unit for late game, and lifesteal for late game. It's a keyword that we're going to be able to apply to our units once Zoe's leveled up. So I think that's where this card is going. This card is just the mana reduction and extra potential for level up, and then the Porofly is Spell Shield, so now we kind of understand where the Spell Shield is coming from. This card seemed like super underwhelming to begin with, but now we've got a 1-cost card that has the ability to grant Spell Shield to all of our units, which all of a sudden becomes pretty darn powerful. Alright, share keywords with all your friends. So there, we got Lifesteal and Elusive for all of them. Alright, and that looks like it's it. I was actually really surprised that we get the Zoe today. Quite a few cards here. Overall potential for Zoe seems pretty, like, I'm excited to play her. It seems like it could have some fun potential with Invoke and also giving your units different keywords. That seems like a fun sort of game plan and style to build around, and also kind of fun deck building just because you have to include a whole bunch of cards in the deck. Cheap cards that are going to allow you to level up Zoe and then potentially get some heavier units for at the end of the game with your invokes and celestial cards. So pretty excited about that. It seems actually kind of like a cool champion. 1-cost champions are actually fun for me anyway to play around. I really enjoy Fizz and Teemo, so hopefully Zoe does is fun to play as well. Yeah, pretty excited about this. I think this is probably it. So more than likely we will get some more cards tomorrow. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.